Guys, this is my presentation on my AP government project. We had to research three topics on Iran, which were conservatives versus reformists, equality with differences, and ethnicity. I will be focusing on ethnicity in this video. Now, I'm using this in Microsoft Word Online because the cleavage between the two sides of the paragraph is not existent when compared to that slide share thing where you had to turn the page every time. That's why I'm doing it on here. Anyways, let's get to the topic at hand. Iran is a strict theocracy, which is unlike other weaker nations like Syria and Iraq. This means that the nation is a strong nation. It has relatively secure borders that are not contested over by other Islamic nations. However, this does not mean that ethnic dissensions don't exist in Iran. That's quite the opposite. A well known example of this is an article from the Huffington Post said that in early 2015, Iranian football pitches were inundated by ethnic protesters from the Kurdish regions of the country, which are basically in the northwest areas near Azerbaijan, which were more than 500 miles away from the central cities of Qom and Tehran. Some real drivers for such a phenomenon were the governmental endorsed agencies showing up in advertisement billboards and flyers throughout the stadium. Imagine all advertisements in a US baseball stadium advertising Medicare and nothing else. It's basically the same idea. This limits the amount of flexibility given to other people who may want to not necessarily revolutionize but simply reform society and keep it moving in a more democratic way. While the Constitution of Iran guarantees the freedom for cultural diversity, the interpretation power of the Majlis and other governmental bodies has limited the amount of actual representation that has been given to the underrepresented minorities in Iran. For example, an Azeri revolution was put down with strong force despite the fact that they had a lot to say on what the new nation formed 2 years earlier would have. Now, it's important to note that this will both increase and decrease the legitimacy of the government. Most people would just say decrease because minority tensions will obviously cause great clashes with the government, but one also needs to look at the positive side and how the Iranian nationals will look at this because they may have a sense of nationalism from the recent oustings of their minorities and wanting to keep Tehran and Qom secure. Therefore, ethnicity actually has a good relationship to the conservative and reformist movement. I'm not going to talk about it, but it's important to note that all three of them are similarly related, and it's important to note that with one of them comes some knowledge of all. Thank you and goodbye.